What's up everybody, and welcome to the next review, Dark Souls 3. Welcome back. Today is the long-awaited review of Dark Souls 3, without a doubt a huge game with a big following and many games under its franchise belt. Let's waste no time and jump into the positive things. Number 1. Dark Souls 3 is more than a title third game in the trilogy of games. You definitely find a connection to the previous titles in story, monsters, and even equipment. But the game feels and looks inspired by many of the titles within the Souls series. In general, such as a combat, has been tweaked a little bit, making it more faster. The enemies have a bit of a Bloodborne or a Demon Souls feel in their nature about them. That is something that longtime fans will definitely appreciate. I know I did. The second positive thing is graphics. Without a doubt, this game looks really nice. You will discover some very beautiful locations that somehow exist in such a dark and disturbing world. Even some of the bosses will look beautiful and make you feel like you did not deserve to kill them. A lot of this is helped by the direction of the art they went with. Intentionally being inspired by different games in the series, you will find places that not only look similar, but they feel very similar from the previous games, like Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2, and so on. But in a good way, this kind of makes it feel like a trip down memory lane, but all the good memories are being made over again, with all positive. The third positive thing is gameplay. Exploring these beautiful places, and also dangerous places, is truly the heart of the series. The few tweaks to the combat makes it feel fresh, but more importantly, up to date enough to not feel lackluster. Enemies give you a good challenge as you explore looking for the next destination, or perhaps the next bonfire to reclaim your thoughts. Standing against a ferocious boss that can easily kill you with 3 hits is what made this game series such a big hit. Even more satisfying is when you defeat the boss. You definitely enjoy the feel of an adventure as you continue through a variety of places, each offering new enemies, new equipment, and even more secrets and story to decrypt. The gameplay feels familiar to longtime fans, which is a good thing, but they also managed to blend in elements of some of the feel of other games in the series. In other words, this is like a big game for the fans, and I really appreciate that, because it truly feels like they thought a lot about the other games and how they wanted to send the series off in a good way. Now, we're going to move on to the negative things. Number 1 is difficulty. Hold on, it's difficulty with the beginning area and kind of light game. The first negative we're going to talk about is the beginning area. After the tutorial, you're kicked into the first real area, which most of the time is not that bad. But there are some very challenging enemies in this place that will easily frustrate you and make you not want to continue. But after you beat the boss, everything's okay. The game actually gets easier for quite a while, which is confusing. But then the game spikes the difficulty up to a ridiculous level in a mid to late game area, to the point you have to grind to get stronger in order to progress. This mostly became confusing and very frustrating. Negative number 2. This topic is kind of connected with the last one. There was a handful of places in this game that I felt like they just wanted to upset the player, to the point they make no sense. Like, why would you hide items behind an enemy that can kill you in 2 hits, but don't worry, the items are useless. This happens a few times in the game, and it just became frustrating and annoying. There are also several places that you would have to dodge, like flaming fireballs, or you get hit by like javelins from like a cannon, and all this stuff just became really annoying and just kind of interrupted the experience of the game. Negative number 3. Some bosses are disappointing. When you have a game that features a challenging and awesome bosses, you will expect them to get better the more you progress. Well, there are several bosses, not going to spoil anything, but they are really easy to the point of being embarrassing. Or they are glitchy or designed poorly that can sometimes ruin the experience. Then they are bosses that are so hard you need co-op in order to beat them. So there's kind of like a double knife's edge when it comes to this. It's a little confusing, but like if you play the game, you totally understand what I'm talking about. Negative number 4. If you played the previous games in the series, you will find the story
Terms are very simple.
to be some kind of like a complicated tale. You have to talk to NPCs, or you have to do a bunch of side quests. There's a bit of a problem though. The story feels like it's kind of like a incomplete story. There is really no basic version of it. Instead, you have a really cool opening video. Then after that, if you don't manage to get lucky or don't know what you're doing, you will never or rarely see any of the NPCs. So you would get very little story. And that kind of became a little disappointing, especially with how the story has such a cool theme behind it. And remember, at this time, the very first time I played this game was when it was released, and there were several glitches and bugs, so people did not know how to begin or finish side quests. So there's a lot of story information that we missed, which is kind of disappointing, but it is what it is. Overall, I definitely see that there's a few more negatives than positives, but most of the negatives are not that bad, and the positives are definitely way more better. If this is the last Dark Souls game, I am completely okay with this. The game managed to be very fun, and what really matters is the experience. The game truly feels like it was made with a combination of all of the other games in the series as kind of a big hat tip thank you to the fans that made all of this possible. And to me, that is truly the most positive thing of this entire game. I would definitely play back through it. I enjoyed my playthrough, and at the end of it, I enjoyed my adventure with it. So I give Dark Souls 3 a 7 out of 10. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you in future video reviews.